Sisseton, South Dakota, almost the definition of if you blink, you'll miss it. Unassuming, maybe. But stop for a minute. Brave the cold a little bit longer. Listen, and you'll likely hear a story that starts here, but spans the globe and more than a half a century. It's the story of a Sioux legend, an American patriot, and a fight off of the battlefield to get him the recognition he earned. It's the story of Master Sergeant Woodrow Wilson Keeble. At the edge of town, a right-hand turn off the main road if you're coming from the north, sits a cemetery not unlike any other you would find in a small American town. A short walk from the main entrance is Veterans Circle, where locals who've served their nation are buried. Woodrow Keeble's grave quietly rests among the others. He grew up about an hour north of here in Wahpeton, North Dakota. He went to a boarding school there known then as the Wahpeton Indian School. His father was too poor to raise him and his siblings. His mother died when Woody was young. At the school, he learned about his culture. He was a full-blooded member of the Sisseton Wahpeton Oyate, a Sioux tribe that at one time was a warrior and hunter society, moving to where the buffalo were and defending their territory when necessary. Their culture is deeply rooted in these times and is one reason many Native Americans answer the call to arms to this day.
This land that we're on belongs to our people. This is where our relatives were buried, were born, raised. To defend it doesn't bother us. It's a duty for us to do. Something that we're taught is our responsibility since we're just little kids.
Woody's turn to serve first came after the Japanese attack at Pearl Harbor. Although he was being pursued by the Chicago White Sox for his reported 100-mile-an-hour fastball, his unit, the North Dakota National Guard's 164th Infantry, was activated.
Some more mail came in.
His stepson, Russ Hawkins, reads an entry from Woody's diary about his first time shooting a Browning automatic rifle.
I didn't do so good on the range today. I only shot a 77 out of a possible 100. I did my best shooting offhand. I would have liked to have fired another 20-round clip. At last I know how much they kick and how they work.
It was the first time firing the rifle, but certainly not the last.
March 17th. It's a lucky thing we shot at the range yesterday because we're pulling out tomorrow. We figure we're going to Australia, but it's just a guess. I hate to think of the long boat ride.
After training in Australia, Woody Keeble's unit took on the Japanese in the Pacific, most notably at Guadalcanal.
As he starts moving into the combat zones, he says he cannot write anymore in his diary because you don't know if the enemy will get a hold of it. So he says he's going to stop writing for now, and that's where the diary ends. The 164th came to assist the Marines to defend Henderson Field. That was of crucial importance in the Pacific as a supply line to the Americans and also the Japanese wanting that airstrip back. They assembled approximately 12,000 Japanese soldiers to take Henderson Field back. And they were going to break in right where the 164th was. They did their research. They knew that this was their first battle. So he was part of a force of 3,000 men that was going to repel the Japanese wherever they broke through. And when they did break through, 12,000 of them came through. The 3,000 of the I Company, 3rd Battalion, met him in 3 days nonstop fighting, bonsai attacks, and alternate night and day fighting. And that's where Woodrow was involved in a lot of hand-to-hand combat.
Despite being an inexperienced unit, the 164th was instrumental in helping the Marines defeat the Japanese. During the fight, Woody developed a reputation for his bravery and skill, things he was taught at his boarding school.
Woodrow probably came from a time period where he was told stories of courage and honor and respect and compassion and giving and what that means.
But Woody, a big man around 6'4", was more than just a warrior. Many who met him off the battlefield were quick to note his kindness.
Fierce as a bear in battle with the cubs, let's say, but is gentle to hold a little baby and put that baby to sleep in his arms.
After the war, Woody returned to Wahpeton to work at the school where he grew up. In 1947, he married his first wife, Nettie. And life seemed to be back to normal. And it was, until 1951, when the call came to protect those who can't protect themselves. And it was something he couldn't ignore. Woodrow Wilson Keeble, a decorated war veteran, was finally back home in North Dakota after fighting the Japanese in the Pacific. But in 1951, his National Guard unit was looking for people to join a new fight in Korea. Woody volunteered without hesitation.
When somebody was asking, why are you going back in? You fought at Guadalcanal, you fought every year of World War II, Bougainville, Henderson Airfield, Guadalcanal, the Philippines, the Solomons. You basically were in combat the whole time of World War II fighting in the Pacific. Why would you go back in? And these were his words. He said, somebody has to teach these boys how to fight.
But beyond his role as a teacher, Woody's friends say his reasons for service reflect those of his ancestors.
It's not for the benefit of tomorrow or next month or next year. My decisions that I make is for the 7 generations to come.
In late October 1951, Woody's unit, the 24th Infantry Division, was involved in one of the last major Allied offensive pushes of the Korean War. The operation later became known as Operation Nomad Polar, but at the time it was known as the Big Push. It was Hill 765, so named for its elevation, where the Chinese Communist forces had dug in deep and where Master Sergeant Keeble became a legend. 3 bunkers similar to these, or pillboxes as they're also called, were on the hill in a V formation.
There were 2 platoons that had become pinned down by these 3 pillboxes.
Several attempts were made to destroy the enemy's position with tanks and planes. Each attempt was unsuccessful.
And it was that time when Woody got into the battle.
Woody's platoon met up with the 2 that were pinned down. All were a part of George Company 19th Infantry Regiment. All the officers had been killed. The other platoon sergeants yielded their command to Master Sergeant Keeble. He had a plan. He would lead 1 platoon at a time up the hill to try and destroy the enemy.
His platoon was the first to volunteer.
They were repelled, so Woody took the 2nd platoon up. They too were stopped. An attempt with the 3rd platoon was also unsuccessful.
So all 3 platoons had gone once. Woody had gone 3 times. The 4th time, he told all 3 platoons to stay put, and he alone was